Am I good? Is that good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Rob,
Let's see.
this is for you. I'm not going to sing the whole song, just part of it, because I think you'll appreciate this song.
Oh, you're number 16 right here.
Oh, the ball of Valley Noor, what your wife and my wife were doing on the floor, singing a why do you do, why do you do, the man that did you last, Nikki, can I do you do? The bishop's wife and she was there, her butt against the wall. She said, come on boys, I tell you now, I'm going to do you all a singing a why do you do, why do you do? The man that did you last, Nikki, can I do you know? The letter carrier, and he was there, but the portman had the pox. He couldn't do the lassie, so he did the letter box. A singing a why do you, why do you do? The man that did you last, Nikki, can I do you do? I didn't have to really do that to get your attention, but you know, I wanted to sing. That occurred to me on the way here, and I thought Brian would appreciate that. Anyway, who's up? Oh, the cursive writer is coming up here to break into the second half. Liven it up around here, you know.
Mr. Pons is up here.
No, Mr. Pond's around here.
He's next.
Oh, yeah. Is he next? Oh, good.
And then tip it.
Another world.
Let me
Not
frame
my
you
first
up.
rodeo. Close.
You're framed perfectly.
You're framed.
That's what they said when they sentenced me to jail.
Guilty as charged.
Yes. Well, anyway, just want to remind everybody, you're probably getting a little tired of this, but
We're not getting tired.
it is my credo, evidently. Just because you steal something doesn't mean you own it. This is still Indian country, and you live on lonely lands.
Yeah.
All right. Younger brother going to heaven. Younger brother wants to go to space, where they'll continue making messes there as here. We think we'll escape our fate, but without mind changes, we'll continue being Homo sapiens, as on earth it shall be in what we call heaven. Stoned, immaculate, because cosmos' universes exist. Alluring can be deadly, same time gives birth to life. Maybe that's why Homo sapiens are so dangerous. Beauty that brings life, death, where beauty becomes ugly under surfaces, reflecting cosmos' alarming splendor. Coyote comes through this piece, trickster, that's encouraging Homo sapiens to leave. Go, go now! Coyote knows things will get better for everything else. Younger brothers just refuses to learn. Came back after being sent away, killing elder brother ever since. Keepers of the earth slaughtered, tortured, maimed, but they're not your family, they're the other. Why would you Usan citizens bother? Too focused on themselves. They have religion, believing what tells them as long as before they die, ask for forgiveness from their God, they will go into heaven. So why bother doing the right thing? Why should I care about the keepers of mother's knowledge or anything else? I'm going to meet my sky God in heaven, sit in adoration of my maker to infinity. Points of light. Sit in my own world, listening to yesterday's music, music that wreaked empathy, sang about the human conditions. Miss these days, spoiled by the amount of talent experiences in this small section of the orb has. Harder to find now, joy of life dimming as the dappled light begins to close off light to black. When Columbia turned on her light, someone from the Iroquois Confederation, whose form of government Usa's based, said they watched that great light go on, and soon after it dimmed. Those 1,000 points of light on the hill aren't the lights of hope, but fires from USA's forever wars against us and the world. They want what everybody has. No lights or hope here because it does nothing. No wonder nothing gets done. Nation of hopers, as your politician leads us by the nose, saying they will do what they want. If we let them, we deserve it.
Mr. Greg Ponce.
And after Greg is M-O-S.
Greg is Moe.
Yay, Greg.
Greg Ponce.
I'm going to start off with just a couple of quotes. This one from Nikki Giovanni. If now isn't a good time for the truth, I don't see when we'll get to it. And one more from the great James Brown.
Yeah.
Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Yeah, there you go.
Chain link. Chains now linked, not locked, should connect, not bind, should reinforce, not confine us in communities undermined, nor unwittingly allow twisted minds to define how far we've come while being marginalized and further left behind. Change now slinks at a snail's pace, inching in increments when the issue is race. Hope walks along a path where freedom remains stalled, barred by bars and barbed wire, still casting patterned shadows across emancipation's wall. Survivors. From Stonewall to disco to bathhouse to AIDS, from marginalization to police raids, liberation and pride parades. We've come a long way, baby, with a long way left to go. Though we've lost too many along the way, so many not here anymore. We have survived to fight for the right to simply be, to love who we choose, and live with dignity. We moved past violence, disease, ridicule, and shame. We are the ones who still remain.
All right.
And I'm going to just share one more. This one written by David Hilton. It's entitled Blind Saxophonist Dies. Blind saxophonist dies. Small photo and caption make him a circus act. Age 41, noted for playing 3 horns at one time. When he was 2 in Columbus, Ohio, a nurse closed his eyes with some bad medication that at the moment I felt the whole world become an inflated tear. Yeah. Much later, he warned the boogie electric is out to get us. Left brain died first, served 2 more years as a prop, while right brain sang out and celebrated serene realm of rhymeless poetry, all music's sudden total vision in a dream. Rasan. It came, yellow stars wheeling across blue midnight ceiling of the jam club, shouting, Rasan, 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 now a chant, now praise, Rasan, Roland Kirk. Roland Kirk, Rasan, Roland Kirk, Rasan and the frail man, black top hat supported by singer and trombonist moves off the stage, When he was asked about his massive stroke, he said, "That happened, that's over with, that's done. Now bright moments, everyone." Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. That's great fun. As my mom would say, Jesus.
Mo's followed by
Mo's. I
Alan
give him a
Harris.
round of applause. Comes up. And he's after Mo.
Alan Harris on deck.
And then Alan Harris at Mo.
I'll do it. I'll make it good.
Could you adjust this thing
Is
to
it
my
good
mouth?
for you?
I love it how you do it. Oh, that felt so good.
Yeah,
There's more to there than meets. There's more to him than meets the eye.
You two better get together. All right, dragons. There are dragons everywhere, and you know when they appear, it's the smell. They eat liars. This is from, it's one sentence. This is from the guy, a dude named Werner Erhard, the founder of EST, Erhard Training Seminars.
Yes.
I'm sure every single person had gone to at least one intro. I know. If you experience it, that's the truth. But if you believe it, that's a lie. You get it? If you believe it, that's a lie. But if you experience it, that's the truth. Things are going really bad, so I have to go to my friend Kurt Vonnegut.
Yeah.
You know, the guy really. So I don't know how many times he just raised. See, he was trying to be a humorist. Everybody. There's no reason good can't triumph over evil. If only angels would get organized along the lines of the mafia. Indianapolis. See? Nothing. Indianapolis.
Naptown.
See, Kurt Vonnegut was born in Indianapolis.
Yes.
And what's famous about Indiana? Bobby Knight. I mean, shit. John Dillinger.
Green apples.
Larry Bird.
Reddish cars.
Larry Bird. That's it. I'm just saying. But Kurt, he always talks about Indianapolis. So, there's another one from Indianapolis. His name is, this is a true story. His name is Powers Haggard. Graduate from Harvard. The next year, he's in the coal mines, organizing for unions. Better pay. Oh, get a load of that. Better. Who the fuck thinks that? Oh my God. 40-hour work week. Oh my God. Things like that. So, after graduating from Harvard, he went to work as a coal miner. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. And then it goes on. Mr. Haggard, in an interview, these are years and years and years later. Mr. Haggard, here you are, a graduate from Harvard. Why would anyone with your advantages and education choose to live what you did as a coal miner organizer? Why? Because of the Sermon on the Mount. Hooray for our team. All right. This is from, every single person should own this, called The Ethical Slut. And this is my version of why we're doing what we're doing and why we're going to have a revolution in this country, because we will win. And this is my version of why we want what we want. I want everyone to be free to express love in every possible way. I want us to create a world where everyone has plenty of what they need, of community, of connection, of touch, sex, and love. I want our children to be raised in an expanded family, a connected village, within urban alienation, where there are enough adults who love them and each other. So there are plenty of love. There's plenty of love and attention and nourishment, and more than enough to be around. We want a world where the sick and aging are cared for by people who love them, where resources are shared by people who care about each other. We dream of a world where no one is driven by desires they have no way of fulfilling, where no one suffers from shame for their desires or embarrassment about their dreams, where no one is starving from love or from lack of sex. I'll finish this up. We dream of a world where no one gets to vote on our life choices, or who chooses to love, or how you choose to love, or how you choose to love, except yourself and your lover. We dream of a time and a place where we will all be free to publicly declare our love for whomever we love, whoever we love them. And may we all look forward to a lifetime of dreams come true.
Thank you. We'll have to get the attribution sheet to you so you can write that stuff down. Someone has it.
And after Alan is Rob.
So Alan? Oh, there you go. Thank you. We're stopping now.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. My name is Dr. Benjamin Neurotransmitter, and I am the president of the American Psychological Association. Several hours ago, a group made up of some of the country's finest and most respected psychoanalytic minds stormed the White House and, armed with a cocktail of the most mind-bendingly effective psychotropic drugs available today, managed to gain entry to the Oval Office. While it is with deep regret that we found it necessary to inject several members of the President's security detail with said cocktail, causing brain damage so severe that they will most likely remain in a vegetative state for the rest of their lives, we felt that it was our duty, not only as doctors of the mind, but also as Americans, to take direct action in regards to the President's mental state. Now, I could throw around terms like sociopathic pathology, or severe mental compromise, or narcissistic personality disorder, but to put it into language that even the most moronic among you will be able to understand, the President is nuts. He is out of his fucking mind. I mean, have you heard the fucked up bullshit gibberish that comes out of his fucking mouth? I'm sorry. It's just that, I went to school for 12 years in order to become a psychologist, earning first a bachelor's degree in psychology and then a doctorate in clinical psychology. And I worked for several years as a staff psychologist for the California State Prison System, a position which required me to study and diagnose the behavioral patterns of some of the most diseased minds on planet Earth. But I have never, at any time in my career, seen such an extraordinarily varied collection of pathologies as I have observed in this man who was unfortunately elected president, ranging from his chuckle-inducing fear of walking up a flight of stairs to the extreme paranoia that causes him to order his attorney general to start investigations into anyone in America who didn't vote for him. Not to mention his enthusiastic displays of racism, misogyny, sadism, a complete lack of empathy for anyone or anything on any level, and perhaps most disturbing of all, the difficulty he has distinguishing between what is real and what is a television show. And this is, of course, just the tip of the deranged iceberg. The president is unstable, and as such, due to his position, is a danger to the entire world. And it is because of this that my fellow doctors and I felt that we needed to take action. As psychologists, we have a duty to inform the public when we believe a particular person poses a danger. Well, consider yourselves informed. And as of right now, thanks to good old-fashioned American pharmacology, we are in charge of the government. The president and vice president, who I'm sure you know is another loony, have been heavily sedated and will remain so while my associates and I discuss the best options for treatment. We call upon the Speaker of the House as third in line to the presidency to come forward and take over the reins of government. It is the general consensus among us that she is a person of relative rationality and stability. However, I want to emphasize that these actions we have taken are in no way political in nature. If this seemingly lucid, balanced, oriented lady from the other side of the political aisle turns out to be the same kind of megalomaniac as our current president, we will not hesitate to whip out the hypodermics and give her a dose of the old psychotropic cocktail. Somehow, though, I don't think that's going to be necessary. I have a good feeling about her. In the meantime, we, the shrinks of America, are in charge. If crazy can get into the White House, then our time has indeed come. But you have to do your part too, my fellow Americans. You have to stop voting for these sick people. They're only here because you put them here. And that is a form of insanity. We'd hate to have to put some of this stuff in the water supply. Think about that when you step into the voting booth in November. Thank you. Thank you. For the 6.5 people in this room who don't know it, I'm be doing a show in March at the Marsh Theater in March. Not the March Theater, the Marsh Theater in Marsh, but the Marsh Theater in March, March 9th and 16th. I have flyers if you're interested. Love to see you there. Love to see you here. Good night.
And after Rob is Tommy. Tommy on deck.
Oh, I like the horn.
Many, many, many.
The kazoo horn.
The kazoo French horn.
Oh, I've never seen one of those yet. And I noticed that you had it set up so you could.
Just bend it, brother, bend it.
Yeah, there you go.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
I try to avoid religion and politics, but I'm gonna make an exception, and I'm gonna give you a song that is gonna solve all of this country's political problems.
Yay!
And you have a little job in this song. This is called the Yoni Symphony. And if you don't know what yoni means, look at somebody who's smiling and they will tell you. And if you still don't know, you'll figure it out. Normally, I ask people at the end of this song to shout out the word yoni. But in this particular instance, in a political vein, if a few of you accidentally shout out the word Bernie, well, then that's completely forgivable. Here we go. We've got 5 senses, isn't that just great? We do not have 6, we cannot echolocate. Some people have 4 and they get along fine too. Helen Keller had just 3 and she founded the ACLU. So this one's for eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. A 5-sense aberration. Where do we begin? Give me a buzz cut and a mountaintop view, a baby to smell and African drums too. Give me a sensual feast that's never ever phony, but most of all, give me Republican yoni. Republican yoni, I'll lap it right up. Republican yoni, fill my loving cup. Republican yoni, nothing could be sweeter. Republican yoni, I'm a repeat eater. Give Give me a beach sunset and an evergreen tree. Give me crushed velvet and a Copeland symphony. Give me a sensual feast that's never ever phony. But most of all, give me Democrat Yoni. Democrat Yoni, yeah, it does the trick. Democrat Yoni likes a donkey dick. A Democrat Yoni, nothing could be sweeter. A Democrat Yoni, I'm a repeat eater. Give me some lightning and cookies baking. Give me a foot rub and thunder shaking. Give me a sensual feast that's never ever phony. But most of all, give me socialist Yoni. Socialist Yoni, the best taste yet. Socialist Yoni, let me lick that butt sweat. Socialist Yoni, nothing could be sweeter. Socialist Yoni, I'm a repeat eater. I hope you like my little symphony. Now go home and try some Yoni, or maybe Yoni don't do it for you. Try some other hole. Everyone's got a few. And when your taste test is done, your oral exploration's through. I'll tell you what comes next. Here's what you should do. Get a massage and pour some jazz in your head, or watch a rainbow sitting in a flower bed. Be kind to your senses every single day. Be kind to everyone and never forget to play. Hug a child daily plus someone very old. Your heart will never ever grow cold. Life is a miracle, a sensual symphony. Life is what happens when you set yourself free. All right, settle down, settle.
Bernie's Yoni!
No, he's got another half. He's got another 4 minutes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he's the mini feature.
Alright, that was one, that was a newer one. Here's one that's a little bit older. It's called The Smiling Blues. Wait. That's better.
Oh, I was gonna tell you.
Daddy choked me in the crib, so I pissed in his eye. Mama grabbed me up. Bye-bye, Daddy, bye-bye. Walked past my grave, gave a wave, and I'm still smiling. Mama tried but couldn't feed us. She sold me to Father Cletus. A naked priest on my back, a sacrificial knife, a heart attack. Walked past my grave, gave a wave, and I'm still smiling. At 15 I found my one and only. Nevermore would we be lonely. Her mom made me a poison pie. My love ate first, true love, bye-bye. Walked past my grave, gave a wave, and I'm still smiling. The hangman's noose, my heinous crime. Wrong place, wrong time. Lightning hit that hanging tree. We flew away, my horse and me. The call of duty came for me. They sent me far across the sea. 19 bullets tore me apart. 19 bullets missed my heart. A spurned lover hit my head, walked away and left me for dead. As the room filled with gas, a burglar shattered the window glass. Walked past my grave, gave a wave, and I'm still smiling. A jealous lover filled with rage killed a man with my looks and age. I strolled away and wandered on. I walked in here to sing this song. Look at your grave, give a wave, and keep on smiling. life I've traveled on, I'll keep going till I'm gone. We all walk that same path. You can cry, you can laugh. Here comes your grave. Give a wave and keep on smiling.
That's Rob, our mini of the evening. Thank you, Rob. The seriousness and the
7.5 minutes. Very nice.
Whoop.
30 seconds.
She co-founded.
Tommy's coming out.
Okay, so I was reading the other day that, and this is going to come as a complete shock to all
Oh
of
my
you,
God!
that in the census that we are all about to cooperate with, I think, they will not be asking people's sexual orientation or gender identity.
They're not gonna have it on, you said?
They're not going to put it on the census. They want to invisibilize me as they've done in the past, deny my existence, vanish me into thin air, something not spoken of, not seen, a will of a wisp, a ghost. They think I'm a threat to their picket fences and pot roasts. I hope I am. My existence is not dependent on their paperwork. They can redact me, leave me on the editing floor. They don't have to count me. I know I count. And something else that I read in the news lately, the governor of the state, California, is being asked to pardon Bayard Rustin. He's being asked by the Legislative Black Caucus and LGBT Caucus. And here's the reason why. It's time to pardon Bayard Rustin, caught in the back seat of a car having sex with 2 other men. 50 days in jail, forced to register as a sex offender. Segregationist Strom Thurmond read his arrest record on the Senate floor, denounced him as a pervert. The great civil rights activist who organized the '63 March on Washington marked for the rest of his life. Just like all the men convicted, jailed, lives ruined for consensual sex with other men. Pardon them all. There's no injustice like an injustice committed in the name of an unjust law.
Yeah.
And finally, there's only one thing that distinguishes us from other animals. Not our opposable thumbs. Gorillas and orangutans have them. Not our practice of burying our dead. Chimps and elephants do that too. Not our feelings, our use of tools, or even language. What makes us unique is Auschwitz and My Lai, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, waterboarding, jails and cages, the ability to inflict pain and slaughter each other as easily as we breathe. Thank you.
Now we have the stately and sonorous.
Could be.
And after Hal is Brandon.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, Brandon after Hal.
The Death of the Ball Turret Gunner by Randall Jarrell. From my mother's breast, I fell into the state, hunched in its belly till my wet fur froze. 6 miles from earth, loosed from its dream of life, I awoke to black flak and the night fighters. When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose. And also for flying creatures. This is one of some poems I know about the misunderstood bird, the vulture. In this case, Still Citizen Sparrow by Richard Wilbur. Still, Citizen Sparrow, this vulture, which you call unnatural, let him but lumber again to air over the rotten office. Let him bear the carrion ballast up, and at the tall tip of the sky lie cruising. Then you'll see that no more beautiful bird is in heaven's height. No wider, more placid wings, no watchfuller flight. He shoulders nature there, the frightfully free, the naked-headed one. Pardon him, you who dart in the orchard aisles, for it is he devours death, mocks mutability, has heart to make an end, keeps nature new. Thinking of Noah, child heart, try to forget how for so many bedlam hours his saw soured the song of birds with its wheezy gnaw, and the slam of his hammer all the day beset the people's ears. Forget how he could bear to see the towns like coral under the keel, and the fields so dismal deep. Rather try to feel how high and weary it was on the waters where he rocked his only world and everyone's. Forgive the hero, you who would have died gladly with all you knew. He rode that tide to Ararat. All men are Noah's sons.
Greetings. So for flying creatures, I wore my butterfly shirt.
Very good.
But since I always read about sad stuff, usually, isn't terribly sad. You can think of them as moths, right?
Yeah.
There you go, right?
Yeah,
Get in the right mood.
Moose.
There you go. So this piece is called On Making Myself. There are over 10 different types of anabolic steroids, and when you consider all their salted variations, it's closer to 26 or so. Testosterone, nandrolone, boldenone, masterone, anadrol, dianabol, anavar, winstrol, trestolone, and trenbolone. Virtually every one of them I've made, tried, used, or compounded. Not that you can tell by looking at me today. I think about the ends I went through as a competitive bodybuilder, packing muscle on this frame of cells. It's hard when you're a narcissist to not bind the love you have in the end product with the means you went through to make it happen. And I did make it happen. 100 milliliters at a time in my kitchen with some old Pyrex containers and ingredients I bought at the corner store. Not that I will give you a list. There is still some knowledge in my head that remains forbidden for me to say. You had your chance at capturing my soul in a bottle 6 years ago, but they're all out of stock today. Bodybuilders have a weird habit that other drug users don't. We keep the empty bottles at the end. I've talked to my friends in various gyms, and they like to tell me the story about their cycles and what it got them in the end. Like that extra 20 pounds of muscle, or on the cover of a magazine, or to bench for the first time 315, or in perfect shape for that honeymoon trip to an historic hotel that's more than 400 years old, where they still do crab races and the fish swim in circles around us, off the beach in little huts. Each vacuous bottle a little footprint in the sand, telling the story of how we got to where we are today. When I got caught, they took the chems away, and I'm not bitter at that. Drug manufacturing was consuming my time in ways that I dread to think about today. Slaving away, working harder than my parents did, when I'd swore I'd never be like them, a father who was 500 pounds at his largest, unable to do anything else but read from an oversized chair. I miss those empty bottles sometimes. Reminders of how ambitious I used to be, dog-earing the pages and the chapters of my life that I could return to now that I'm solitary. I haven't been in a gym since. I tried at first, thinking I could muddle through the worst parts of some training program, but now I'm just wondering, what was the point of it all? Every training session was just an insult to a man who was stronger than me. Male human strength peaks at age 42. It's in the powerlifting records of every sporting organization. After that, time's grasp gains the upper hand, and no amount of training or effort or contraband can keep it from depleting your capabilities. I had half that time, and I don't know what to do with this weaker half. Many commit suicide at the thought of middle age. It's the leading killer of men that are my age, but to add to it, the loss of a marriage, a business, being gay, the destruction of social status, I honestly don't know why I'm here today. I guess love is just a chemical in our brains anyway. And so is self-confidence, I suppose. And every other emotion, I couldn't think of a chemical which I could compose or capture it with. A depressed narcissist looks a lot like everyone else, which is a great way of saying existentialism has left me bereft. I think the problem isn't that I'm out of drugs, but rather I don't have enough empty bottles left. And maybe that's every drug user's problem in the end. I can't tell how much of it is me being a fucking snowflake or just an addict, not that rehab can fix any of this shit. So pardon me while I start writing a new story. It's going to have a rocky start, but my second novel will be less methed up than the first. And certainly less than you dread. Chemistry.com is a dating site, not a drug site, if that tells you anything about what's going on in my head. A chemist without chemicals makes for a shitty writer. I'm still working on how to do the binding, and how to label it, and how to package it to be read. You have to be sober to enter into a 12 steps meeting, but you can be tweaking balls and go to a poetry reading. I appreciate that there's at least one community capable of sympathy for people like me who can risk it all on one turn of pitch and toss. Looking at one's father there on that sad height. In the mirror of his eyes, I saw ever my own beauty mirrored. Look upon my works, ye mighty in despair, to take the road less traveled along, the single set of footprints were the times I carried you. There are 26 letters to the alphabet. I'm going to need every goddamned one. For as the bard said, to thine own self be true.
Thank you, Brendan. Sharon Scott Cage is coming up here now. And then we have Shem from the 6. And the Cursed Rider to close us out as is his wont.
50 years.
50 years.
Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, I sat out in the park for years in the cold when they lost. Did you ever have a goal and still not know where you were going? I knew I wasn't going to stay where I was, but I sure wasn't going to stay where I was going. Joe Louis. I decided for the rest of my life I was going to make this world, a better place, a place to fight justice. Also to be able to read and write the way James Brown danced and the way Aretha Franklin sang. Cornel West. Uncle Willis is missing. After Christmas, not too much to do. Decorations put away, lots of snow and slush, and weather even colder. Can't go hunting, can't go fishing. Only the usual club meetings. The ladies love this. Lots of time to catch up on local gossip. Quilting bees are in full force. Women's clubs get in full force again. Spring is coming, so plans for the cotillions and the balls are all on the spring calendar. Only holiday coming up is Valentine's Day. Older couples don't pay too much attention to it. The gift is usual. Purchase on February the 14th. White Whitman sampler, Hallmark card. Some flowers from Lawrence's shop. If you got there too late, the guy stopped by the mortuary. Someone is always there. There's an old wreath that can be disassembled. And don't forget to take a sympathy card out, because you're in trouble if she finds it. One day Mr. Duncan forgot. Brought home a bunch of roses and forgot to take the card out. His wife Bessie tried to forget it, but she banished him to the den. Children get bored. You can only listen to so many Sergeant Preston episodes and the gang and Sky King. But if there's fresh snow, that's a welcome sight. Sleds come out in full force. This is the one time they don't mind bundling up. If they're lucky enough on Saturday, they can go to the lake in the park and ice skate. Little kids spend more time on their butts than skating. Dogs along for the fun. Older women usually don't go, but if they do, they will go with a big cooler filled with food. Underwood deviled ham with mayonnaise and pickles. Good sandwiches. Pork and beans. Homemade brownies with fudge on top. And tapioca pudding. All neatly packed in a big, big cooler with homemade marshmallows and sticks and matches. Huge Watchman's thermos of hot cocoa. Most small kids are so bundled up they bounce when they fall. Willis Harmon and his wife Della usually made a visit to Kansas City after Christmas to visit his brother. His brother, Edgar, and his wife, Nadine, and their 3 children. Willis was a letter carrier at the post office, so after Christmas, he was bone tired. And Kansas City was warmer and not that far from the windy Chicago. Not a bad drive. After they arrived with usual gifts unpacked and settled down and embraced themselves in for the snowy days. Men wandered off to the lodge hall, women cooked and baked and visited old friends. Children played games, listened to the radio, took sleds out. Maybe a little snowman, snowballs, snow fights. An occasional visit to the Carver Theater for the double feature, movie tone news, 2 cartoons, and a good cereal. After the boredom starts to settle in, time for a visit to the lake. Plans go over the phone, people meet, and after a while, in the early morning, they don't want to go, too cold. So meet at around noon or late in the middle afternoon, and you're off for the day. Skates are ready, laces new, men have long johns, lots of children, their pockets are big enough to hold at least 2 pints for the guys. Matches, pipes, Chesterfields, Lucky Stripes, and Pall Malls. Wow, the day is going to be great. The ice is perfect. Kids are off and all over the place. Dogs are skidding and chasing each other and anything that moves. Large fires started in the big tin drum, courtesy of Mr. Baldwin, a garbage man. Men spend more time by the fire sneaking nips and taking time smoke cigarettes. Time to break out the food, put the cloth over the table. Everybody come eat. Dogs are wild, barking, chasing each other, chasing their kids, chasing their tails. Wild. In fact, Fritzy, the German Shepherd, was last seen chasing Uncle Willis, dead on his heels. Okay, time to eat. Time to bless the food. The kids are making faces at each other. Women are smacking him. Where's Willis? Willis, go find him. I'm up here. Well, there's Willis in a big oak tree, and Fritz on the ground, barking and licking a half-pint bottle of old Granddad. He's up the tree without a bottle.
And Shem, give him a round as he comes up, and then the cursive rider closing us out. We have tons of door problems.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
For you.
Thank you.
Lemma ding dong. Right.
That's one of my favorite songs.
So the theme was flying creatures, right?
Yes, flying creatures.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, I kind of wrote something, and then it just, it was over there and inside your head for 30 some odd years. And then the theme came, and I expanded it into something. Okay, it's called Blue Angels Shiver. Not about war jets, just so you know, San Franciscans. From lonely watchtower window perch, wandering thoughts, aimless and aching for any emerging wondrousness to arise. Drift and gaze on water's surface. Shocked awake to the sound of blue angels cut by the liquid hand ascending to the towers. Transported, the power of directionless cascades of perception, a free-floating everythingness all at once. But the stone tower, cold and calculating, requires a certain socioeconomic standing, an adequately predictable level of marketable production, sculpted in words or poured concrete, captured by pages or trapped in galleries. No longer free to burst forth in liquid light, toned down, turned around, cooled off by avaricious scholars' gazes. Lost in labyrinthine mazes, conjured up by soul and tongue, twisted profit-seeking spirit guides in confidence, men in profit disguises. Fleeting innocence, guileless creation cannot fly free from the face of the deep into the light of the sun for much more than a moment before it's captured and held hostage. Trapped in stone tower chambers, shiver blue angels. The angels are shivering, shivering in stone. And then I have a second draft of last week's theme, skeptical, whatever it was. Septic Skeptic.
Oh,
all right. So it's called Gallbladder Wisdom's Ghost.
Right.
A state of internal sepsis, a slow swell of festering ferment, a discreet secret deadening of flesh, an excruciating thorn in the side on the inside, coupled with an unconscionably high tolerance for physical pain, a doggedly stoic will to stay the course, stand up to it, or just lie there, curled in fetal agony, must withstand nature's remedies and consequences, delay inevitable visit to the specialist. Don't trust them doctors and their machines and tests, protocols and pills, screens and scopes and scalpels, their insurance-driven calculated risk assessments. I am not simply a machine to be worked on by the right mechanic with the right tools. I am not a form to be filled out or a problem to be solved by a preset menu of diagnostic inquiry checklists. I am a spirit with a home and a heart and a family, with a place where I come from, with ancestors and deep magic, an ancient medicine and meaning beyond all this oppressive urban geometry of division and control.
But getting to the heart of the matter, one no longer has the gall to fully trust in it. At this distance from source, at this juncture in the ruptured continuum, a septic skepticism that precludes all possible belief systems seeps in. A breaking down of matrices and sequences, a tear in the very fabric of storied continuity, a stony denial of gallbladder's wisdoms and insights. A place, a thing, a time, a space cannot truly have a heart now, can it? And what's a metaphor for, anyway? A heart is just a pump. A gallbladder is just a degreaser. But a plugged up bile sac about to burst will kill you no matter how you feel, or what you think, or where you come from. Does the ghost of gallbladder wisdom still haunt the space between your liver and your gut after the laparoscopic procedure has been successfully executed by the exuberant surgeon in the ridiculously oversized red and blue polka dotted bow tie, who exclaims with a cocky glimmer to the apprehensive husband standing just beyond the operating table curtain, "I just saved her life?" All right, do you have any more time?
Oh, you're right on the money. 5 minutes.
All right, thank you very much.
Cursive writer closing us out. And then these spectacularly wonderful door prizes or door gifts. I'm trying to call them gifts now.
Yeah, gifts. They're nothing but gifts.
Thank you. Prizes, gifts, blank ship. Where is it? Oh, there he is.
I'm still savoring gallbladder wisdom.
Gallbladder. Savor. They taste it, fry them up.
Savoring.
Even a fish liver.
Savoring. Oh, by the way, next month, if
Big
you're
events.
interested, it's going to be Dee Allen and Elaine Brown.
Yeah.
All right. Kiss them. Yeah, kiss them for me. Unless things change, better you than me. No, I'll feel the same tomorrow to my very morrow. When it's done, no more coming back. Harlequin rings bells and plays bells. Puts back spade, excuse me, let me start this over. Lost my rhythm. Yeah, kiss them for me. Unless things change, better you than me. Now I'll know I'll feel the same tomorrow to my very morrow. When it's done, no more coming back. Harlequin rings, plays bells, puts backbeat, makes funky. People stop, likes the look of Harlequin. Coyote meets Harlequin, trickster, likes the cut of his jib. Coyote always looks askance at two-legged, but Harlequin, well, there's something there. Yeah, kiss them for me. Unless things change, better you than me. No, I'll feel the same tomorrow to my very morrow. When it's done, no more coming back. Harlequin plays for the night sky, sends to things that looks like heaven. Harlequin stays mute, his languages are movements, bells. He moves air, boxes, jabs, swings, fighting Homo sapiens to the very core. Yeah, kiss them for me, unless things change, better you than me. No, I'll feel the same tomorrow to my very morrow. When it's done, no more coming back. Harlequin's tricking you Homo sapiens into doing the right things, maybe the only thing that saves us. Harlequin coyote tricksters of our times, from the old times. Kiss them for me. Yeah, kiss them for me, unless things change better than you and me. No, I'll feel the same tomorrow to my very morrow. When it's done, no more coming back. Memory? What memory? Romans are deadly pillagers of the planet. They exhausted Earth, as did the Greeks, by their indiscriminate plunder. Enemies rich in resources, where elites lust for the wealth, fording their craving for power through robbery, butchery, rape, where they make government creating deserts called peace. Now, several empires later, comes USA, thinking they have the power of Rome, USA's favorite empire. Only USA's technology surpasses, but in all other ways don't come close. USA's claims strength, but is weak, relies on paid armies over military paying them top dollar, while USA's military fights mostly poor working class, paid low wages, dies as they kill working class people, poor, comes back with demons of war. Thou shalt not kill. Is that some sort of joke? USA lost its huevos a long time ago, relies on new forms of warfare, supplementing military with surrogates, so the rest of the empire can continue going shopping at USA's corporate teats, having now no memory erased a long time ago.
Yeah.
This is the man who does the streaming and everything. Go give him a round of applause, Mr. Natchez.